This is an emergency live stream. I vibe coded too hard with Claude Code, and now production is broken. So this is your sign to learn Git rollbacks before you really need them. In this video today, this is actually a live stream. You're gonna learn how to roll back with Git when basically AI coding goes wrong. I know, I'm an experienced developer, and this happens to normal people all the time. It happens to anyone, and you shouldn't be embarrassed if this happens to you. And the other thing that we're gonna go over is, like, if you don't know how to use Git or how to use a command line type of thing, I'm gonna try to walk you through how you would use ChatGPT and Claude Code to kind of teach us like how to do this specific rollback. If you don't know what Git is, we're going to show you a little bit more in the coming part of this live stream. And I'm also going to show you the Claude Code prompts I use to kind of run this fix. And so this is actually happening in real time right now with my app. Basically, Claude helped me ship this app 10 times faster than I normally would by myself. But I've gotten to the point where now 3 paying users are hitting me up in the last 24 hours saying they can't use the app. And that's unacceptable. And there should be these types of checks in place so I can easily snap back to a previous version and then everything can go back hunky-dory. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see if I can kind of show you what this plan looks like. And so the way I started this out was I talked with Claude Code, and I also tried to look back through my Git history. So one of the important things about using Git and kind of checking code in frequently is whenever I start a new feature or start something, I like to create what they call like a feature branch. And so whenever you create a feature branch or do a refactor or something, you just put the name of the branch in, and then you could put a slash in. So that slash basically makes it a folder name and then name your branch. And in this case, you can actually see when the main part of the app is here, and that's actually what's deployed on production. The next part of it, when you do a feature branch, all those changes land over here, and then you'll basically end up wanting to do like what they call like a pull request. So that'll bring it over into production. This is once you've tested and verified that everything works on that branch, and it pulls it back over. So one advantage of doing it this way is that it makes it easier to go back through your history at some point in time. And I could see this is when I'd done all these changes to my app in like when I was working on the features. And then this is at the point in time when I actually like landed the features to the main. So the blue one is basically what the users have been able to see in production. So sometimes I have a branch that I'm working with, and then as I do stuff, I just kind of push it into the production side. And this is kind of the workflow that I work with, because I'm getting feedback and I'm constantly iterating with my users. And as they give me feedback, I try to push it in. And so it's come to a point where like I'm working on this massive refactor, and I pushed some changes in because I was dealing with the production database. And I was like, okay, I want to do this cool thing where I'm syncing all the state, and I want it to feel like a real like iOS app. So like when people are going to different pages and stuff, all this stuff can happen in the background. It turns out like I vibe coded the whole change in, and I verified it worked, but there's a bunch of other bugs that can happen if users are doing weird things that I can't necessarily test for because I'm just one single human being. Like I don't like have these automated tests set up for all these different browsers, all these different formats and things that I know I should be testing, but I was just kind of going with the vibes, if you know what I mean. So this is the first time I'm really kind of thinking like, wow, we got to do something about this. And I need to show you how we're going to snap back all of these changes that I just made all the way back over here to July 16th. This is really embarrassing. So this is July 30th. So I have to roll back all of these changes. Is not going to be really pretty. And I thought, okay, if I know that this is kind of where before the point where I knew things were working, how do you snap back to something like this, and how do you find it? In Git, there's this thing called a commit hash, and the commit hash is your key to that specific moment in time. And so before you do anything, if you have a database provider, I use Convex for my database. And so in Convex, there's a section called settings. So let me just adjust this so you can kind of see this. Back up your data in production and also in development. So I'm going to show you how this works in development, and you can also do the same thing by selecting your production database. So in the settings, when you go here, you're going to select backup and restore. This will not be checked by automatically. If you check this, it's going to automatically back up at a certain time, which is probably something you want to enable if you do have something in production. You hit backup now, and it's going to run a backup for your database. And so if something happens, we push changes and it accidentally deploys something to production, we can snap this back to a specific moment in time. That way your users will not lose any data. So that's number one. Back up your data. If you have a database or anything like that, make sure that's all backed up before we do this type of Git rollback, because some of these changes could like break it for the rest of time. And I don't want to just like vibe code this right now. Like your production data is probably, gold right now. So you should probably treat it as such. So that's number one, back up your data. And then number two is I asked Claude Code about this. Like, hey, I found the exact commit hash. How do we do this type of thing? And if you're wondering, I'm going to actually have this available in my blog. So I'm actually working on this right now on what the initial prompt is. So I gave this to Claude Code, and this will be available at rayfernando.ai for you to kind of reference back. So I just said, hey, my users are reporting issues. I found the regression, and I need to roll back to exactly this commit hash on my main branch. But I want to test this on the branch so that I can deploy it in the dev environment just to make sure I can roll back my changes to the database and make sure everything works before merging back into main. So there's a lot of key terms here that are really important, and you should understand why. Is the way that I treat my thing is it's like the main branch is kind of where everything is at in production. And so what I'm wanting to do, I'm telling it, I want to create a separate area to kind of snap everything back in and test it there before I roll everything back in production, just so that I want to make sure everything plays well. And that way my users don't, freak out, or I don't cause any further problems and so forth. With the next set of Git commands and the whole plan that comes up, what's going to eventually happen is like all that history that has happened, all that work that I did will basically eventually disappear, unless you actually tag it and store it away to be pulled into the future. So this is kind of what I'm going to be getting into next. So once I did this type of prompt, this is actually what Claude Code told us. This is exactly the prompt here that I gave it for Git. And this is actually what we're seeing here. So it's like, oh, okay, it's going to look, what's nice about Claude Code is it's really good with the shell. And so it ran these Git commands to try to look and see like, okay, let me just take a look at this repo and see what you're doing. And so it did that, and it gave me a plan. I was like, this is really, really cool. So then I just said, okay, let me just kind of double check this plan. I don't know what some of these key terms are. Like if you don't know what these things are in Git, I was like, what does this look like if I ask ChatGPT, and is it actually accurate / helpful? So you just pop into ChatGPT at 03. This is great. So like, what does like git reset hard commit do? You may have seen these commands, but you don't know what they do. You probably should understand what they do. And the best way to do that is just use AI, right? So ChatGPT is really good at explaining things, and I actually like that as a platform. So what would git reset hard commit hash do? And it actually explains it to you exactly like in plain English, which is awesome. It's like, cool. This is very, very helpful, because you want to know that like if you do this type of reset, that all this other stuff can basically be lost. And so you're like, I need to ask more questions. And so it basically moves the pointer to that other point in time. And there's a bunch of different types of attributes you can do. But for the moment we're doing here, this is like some shortcuts to remember: soft, mixed, and like hard resets. So you can go crazy with this, but for our practical example, it just kind of gave me this. And so what I just did, it says like, this basically force jumps your branch back to a specific commit and wipes out every unstaged or staged change in the process. So that's just an FYI. And that's why you don't want to do this on the main branch, especially if your main branch is deploying to production, because then you'll roll back code. Your database could be out of sync. There could be a lot of kind of disasters here. And this is kind of why I want to do this as a live stream. I will get to your comments, by the way, if you're commenting on the lives. I do see them coming through. So big shout outs to GitMax, big shout outs to Alex, big shout outs to Don't Stop Believing, and my members as well. I will get to them, but I want to make sure I get this point across, and I got to focus. I got to lock in for a little bit. So just beware. All right. So I don't know if you've seen this in there, but they also talk about --no ff. And you're like, what is this? So then you want to just continue ask any questions into ChatGPT. It has infinite amounts of patience. It's not going to treat you like you're dumb, and it'll just explain everything, and it'll just show you what's happening. And so what's really great about this is then you learn, okay, it tells you about a typical workflow. And then I just copy and paste it from Claude Code and said, can you help me visualize the following plan? Because I just want to make sure I can visually see it. I'm not a text person. I'm a visual person. And so I put this in here, and I didn't realize this, but I learned today that ChatGPT 03 model can call other models to generate images. And this is a new feature that I have not seen before. So literally we'll just generate features, generate images, which is amazing, right? It can actually make visualizations for you. So it just kind of explains what's happening in text in a step-by-step process, almost like a slide. And so it just kind of also gives a breakdown of what's going to happen step by step in a nicer formatting than just, Claude Code, if that's the way that you kind of see things as well. So now it's basically saying, okay, cool. We're going to create a test branch. We're going to do a hard reset. We're going to force push it, and then we're going to deploy to convex, and then we're going to manually validate before we merge it back into main. And the Claude Code gave us these plans, like the no FF git push and stuff like that. And so I noticed these pro tips here, and I didn't see this in my original Claude Code plan. And this is why I like to ask another AI model, because I get that secondary feedback, and I'm like, oh, that's right. I should probably tag things before doing things. And so all I did was copy and paste this, went back into Claude Code, and just said, hey, I got some advice from a professional, or I got this advice, and I literally just pasted it in, and it says, excellent advice. Certainly, and so now it gave me the improved plan. And then this is a step-by-step plan that we're literally going to follow, because I was like, this looks pretty good, on how we should actually tag everything so we don't lose it and we can snap it back into the future in case something happens, because it's currently live in production. And then how we can follow the steps so that we can start to actually deploy this change. And so I wanted to walk you through this whole thinking process in terms of don't be afraid of Git if this is totally new to you. It takes a little while to learn. It's not really something that's taught. You kind of learn by doing type of thing. There's also a lot of resources online just on, GitHub, and there's a lot of other types of things on YouTube and different videos. But I feel like we're kind of in a newer era right now where the AI is writing a lot of code. Even the AI could be writing a lot of stuff into what's happening. But I feel like if you learn Git, it's going to be a huge unlock for you to feel very comfortable with what the AI is doing. And to say, okay, I'm not going to throw away that code. I'm just going to put that code to the side. Let's just snap back to a moment in time. It's right, to get to that specific point, and then make sure we don't mess up anything else. So that's kind of that in a nutshell. And we're going to just get right into it right now. Before we do that, I'm just going to say big shout outs to Git Maxta for hanging on the stream as well. Hi, successfully implemented Grok in my application, managed to transcribe 8-hour video in 26 seconds. Let's go. This was quite impressive. This is my favorite. I love Grok, and I'll have to tell you more about that. This is why I use them. Why is this app that you're using? What is the app you're using to snap back? The app that I'm using is called Git Tower from Nova. And so let me see if I can find that for you. I think it's git-tower.com. So git-tower.com. I think I should probably give you a referral link, but I don't think it matters at this point. I've been using them for over a decade. I used to manage lots of projects, thousands of projects. And this was just my easiest way to literally tag things, do everything through the UI. But I wanted to show you, this costs money. And I would only suggest this if you're using it in a professional environment like I was using. I've just got so used to it. I just love the UI. But there are also free versions like Git Kraken that is much less expensive. And then there's free versions, like Git itself has its own UI. But for me, this is, the performance and everything that I was doing with thousands and thousands of projects and huge dependencies and stuff like that. This was my go-to thing, and I really like it a lot. Anyways, it's a Mac only thing. So that's kind of how I was flowing as well. Do you use Claude Code with auto edits on? It just depends on what I'm doing, Alex. If I know the changes and I have a good plan, and I already have all the stuff in Git already ready to go with my feature branches, then I just turn on auto edits and just let it rip. So yeah, that's what's up. Cool. Hey, how's it going? Design. Ramesh that's cool. All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and get this going. Let's go ahead and get cracking on this. So I'll show you where we're at right now. On this, I'm using Git Tower. And so as of now, I've identified this is the commit hash, and then this is my main branch, but I'm actually currently at this refactor/remove slop. It's not looking pretty right now, but it's okay. It's okay. And then in production and on dev, app.raytranscribes, I'll show you real quick. I have introduced version numbers into my app for a couple of reasons. When customers send me screenshots, this is a pro tip that you should probably put in your app. Insert a version number somewhere, especially if they take a screenshot for an error. This is so helpful. I can't tell you how many times I've seen version 1 dot whatever. And then I was like, okay, either the change hasn't rolled out or something is completely broken. I need to fix this. Now, when I roll out the new changes, if people are still reporting issues and they're showing version 1.2.2, I know that the newest change isn't rolled out yet. So the one I'm going to bump the version, and I'll show you how I do that too. But having somewhere where you have a version number is super pro tip. You could just stash it anywhere, like out of the way or whatever. But I do want it so that when people put it in screenshots, I do like to see it. And it helps the user also see when like you have new features coming up. They're like, oh, hey, there's a version bump. Like something must have happened. I don't necessarily have a log. Like they can't click it to see what's happening, but it's just for my own internal type of thing. It's also good practice that I don't do this right now, but I used to, is to create a Git tag along with your version releases so that you can snap back to it. So there's a couple of things. I'm in a lot of technical debt right now because I'm trying to go in founder mode. I'm trying to stream every day, but the big story is like I should have been Git tagging myself along the way so that way I can just snap back to a previous version. I didn't do that, but we're going to learn how to tag today so that we can kind of prepare for the future. But I used to do this in practice, and then things got ahead of me. And then I just kept vibing and I just kind of forgot about it. But you can kind of see when you create these tags, these are moments in time that I can snap back to. I can snap back to the earliest version of my app and just say, let's just go ahead and create a branch and push that into main and just go. And that's kind of the magic of tagging. And so we're going to start doing that. See, I stopped after version 5. But I should probably set up like these hooks, and I should set up these different Git workflow processes that I do want to share possibly in future videos. But right now I need to fix this emergency because people are yelling at me. I mean, kind of low key. I don't want to lose these 3 paying users. It took me a while to get 3 paying users. So like, I want to keep them. All right. So it says, let's follow the plan. Improve rollback plan. We're just going to follow this step by step. I'm going to do Command K to clear this out. Let's get cooking, folks. All right. So scroll down. So, okay. So where are we at here? Git tag. Okay. So create a backup on the current branch. Yes. The current branch is the one that has my changes that I don't want to ever lose. So, because I do that there, git tag pre-rollback. I think I also want to tag the current branch too, I think. So I want to tag this one because this is what's currently released. And so I should snap back to that too. All right, so let me just double click this one to snap back here. And so I want to tag this change as well. And so I'll say git tag. Let me put my head up a little bit further. Okay, so git tag backup pre-rollback. Yeah. And so now that I'm on the main branch, I'm basically just going to create a tag right here. So if something happens, I'll just fast forward it because my database is still going to stay the same, right? All the values that have been written in the database are still there. So I haven't written any migrations or anything like that. I'm just literally just going to be tagging it right there. So now we have this. So now we see this tag. It says git backup pre-rollback. And now we actually see it down here as well. And if I wanted to, I could even create a new tag called like, whatever the version number is, 1.2.2, I think. Yeah, I forget what my current version is. Yeah, 1.2.2. Okay. So yeah, git tag. Okay. But this should be fine. And then I'm going to go ahead and let's see, git push origin pre-rollback. I'm going to also switch back to the other branch too, because I don't want to lose that as well. So I'm working on a couple. Actually, I don't worry about this because this is actually a fast forward in time. So I created this remove slop based off of here. And so this is currently where we're at in production. And you can see that tag that's currently hidden there. So all of the stuff that I'm currently working on this branch is basically has been since then. So when I roll this back, I'm going to roll this back pretty far back. We're going back to July 12th. Let's see, July. Damn. Oh, you see, I don't know. I'm so guilty of this, of just, shipping and doing stuff that like, it's kind of sad, but stuff happens, man. I'm not going to get mad at myself. Let's see. Okay. So where is this? You know what? It's actually a different commit hash because whenever you're in a branch, I think, where is it? July 12th. Let me do this here. Let me focus real quick. Implement. It's this one, I think. Oh no, it's this one. Radix UI. Okay, so it's July 16th. Here we go. Yep. Okay. And then let me just double check this one here. July 16th. Should be the same because I forked it or created a branch from it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's the same one. Okay, cool. Let me just double check. Command F. Command F. Yeah, there we are. Okay, cool. Yay. Okay. All right. So I've created the branch. I'm currently in the main branch right now. And this is git push origin, git tag, git push origin pre-rollback. So I need to actually push this tag up. So it's currently available on Git. So let me just go ahead and do that. Cool. So now the tag is actually available from my local. Now it's actually up in production. So this creates a safety net to restore if needed. And so I'm going to do git checkout main as well. Git checkout main, which is currently where I'm at right now. So git checkout main. Yeah. And then git pull origin main. Cool. And if you're using the UI app, you would just hit this little button here. Basically, there's this pull button, and so basically what the UI does is it just does these git commands underneath the hood. So anything like you do, like this git pull, git fetch, these are all the different buttons. You know, git push. So sometimes if you're in the UI, you just do Command Shift U to like push it up to the upstream and so forth. So sometimes that's faster. It just depends. For me, yeah, it just depends on whatever projects and all the stuff you're working on. Okay, so git checkout, git pull. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to create a new branch here. And we're just going to go git pull origin main. This. So we created a new branch, and we can see the branch down here being visualized as well in Git. And so we're going to go ahead and push the origin. So now that we're here, I'll show you what this looks like. This is kind of why I wanted to have this up. So you can see that branch that we created is now visually here, and it's actually set to here. So right. So we're now saying, hey, we're kind of at the same spot as main. And what we're going to go ahead and do now is now that we're actually checked out here, we're going to basically push it back so that it goes all the way back to that January 16th mark, July 16th. So we're going to go back to July 16th at that point in time where I actually had those changes. And in order for us to do that, we're just going to do this git reset hard command. And this is the commit hash. Remember that commit hash that we were talking about earlier? That's where we're going to actually go to. So you'll see the effects of what happens in the UI. So let me see if I can kind of show you side by side so we can kind of see what happens in Git. And that way you can kind of visualize what's happening here, because I think visuals are really important. So here we are here. And then let me get rid of this side thing, and let me just kind of run the command down below. And then you'll see what happens with the Git stuff here on the side. So now that those are side by side, let's go ahead and cook it. So here, and here. YOLO, my friends. So boom. Oh, sorry, my bad. I did the wrong, copy and pasted the wrong thing. Guys, I vibe coded myself out. Okay, here we go. Git reset hard, and then this commit hash. I'm going to copy this. Copy. Command K to, okay, cool. Boom. So the head is now here. And if I go here, we should now see this updated. So now it basically rolled us back, and you see it got rid of a whole bunch of other stuff that was ahead of it. That all disappeared. Now we're basically back here. And so we're like, uh-oh, what's happening now? And so what's happened now is basically my whole file system with all those files and all that code that I generated has now snapped back in time to that specific moment of where everything was staged up. And so whenever you're working on stuff like this, one of the next steps that we have to do is go ahead and remove all these node modules, any caches from the build system that has generated. It's always good to just kind of reset that state as well. Whenever you're deploying to containers like on Vercel or Cloudflare, they always spin up a new environment. So it's always empty and erased. But if you're developing locally, you have to like manually remove those files like node modules, .caches, .next, and all these different directories where the build stuff happens. So we're just going to run an rmrf command on some of these local things, and I'll just show you what that looks like in the next steps here. So let's go ahead and see if I can get that set up, and we can kind of chill out here. So, okay. Yeah, this is not fun, but it's okay. We have to do this. I feel like if you don't do this once, then you haven't really actually shipped an app and lived, you know what I mean? Because like, these are such painful points, but They do happen. They happen to everyone. It doesn't happen. It even happens before AI. That's why this is kind of really important. So what I basically run is rm-rf. I remove the node modules. I remove the .next. I remove the .cache, and I use Cloudflare. So I remove the .wrangler files as well that get built. And so once I do that, hit enter. And so that should basically wipe out all of those like modules and everything that I installed. And so everything's going to be like, hey, you don't have all the dependencies and all the different things installed. I'm like, great. That's why I just run bun install again, install. And so it's just going to reinstall all my packages. And so we're just going to basically treat this like a very fresh container. And so now that everything's initialized and reinstalled again, I should basically be back to this working state where I was with all my users. And so before I do that, I also have to run my bun x convex dev. And so in convex, when you run these commands, basically it's going to try to do a migration of the various scripts, and it's going to be like, hey, I have a bunch of extra information in here that you probably shouldn't have because of all your users. So there's a schema validation that failed with whatever. So the object contains extra segments that were not in the validator. And so this is kind of where it gets a little hairy. You're like, uh-oh, I have extra rows in my database. So like think about it as an Excel spreadsheet, right? If you have code that expects your name, email, and then like something else like, last name or something like that, name, email, and like, let's just say your address, right? And you're like, you added a new feature to say, instead of the address, I also want to know like their favorite food or something like that. So you have a food column that says pizza, and you have all that stuff in there with everyone's like favorite stuff. Now you want to roll back because your feature, like all the feature work you were doing that involves like the pizza stuff or the favorite food is breaking production. So now we've got to get rid of, like, we got to just put everything back to the state it was before. And we also kind of have to pretend like this whole thing, it's okay to be there as far as the data. We don't have to wipe out the data, but we just have to tell, our current, code to say, hey, it's okay that these stuff is there. This will be something that will be coming into the future, and don't freak out about it, type of thing. So this is kind of where you have to take some extra steps and figure out in your code and your software, how do you deal with this? And everyone's situation is going to be completely different. And so this is kind of where I want to kind of get us right now. It's like, okay, I now need to figure out a couple of things. We have so far to date, just to kind of summarize, we're basically, what we've done is that we've taken our main branch where everything is in production. We said, let's go ahead and create a tag. And so that's what we did there. So the tag will allow us to snap back in time, and it'll show us all of these changes. So let's just say I completely messed something up. I can always snap forward to this. The second part of it is we backed up our database, so we can always go snap back to this tag and our database tag too, so that everything in the data lines up so that your users can still use the app in whatever form it is. And so that's that one part there. And then the second part of it is that we generated the plan and we followed it, and it created what they call like a test branch. And so in our test branch, we're basically trying to roll back ourselves to that working state where we know everything should be okay. And so within that, we've done that there, and we cleared out our caches, we reinstall everything, and now I'm running my database migrations and it's freaking out. And so what I need to do now is basically write some more code to deal with how I can deploy this and keep it running in production, so that it doesn't keep freaking out at me when I'm doing these types of things here. So like if I go to my app right now, go bun dev, I should be able to at least access the front end part of the app without freaking out too much. So I'll show you this. No. Okay. So here we are. So yeah, it's like, hey, I don't have this. I think it tried to get me as a user or whoever I am logged in as. It's like, this is the starter plan. So we're kind of back here to a previous working state. And so, yeah, it's kind of cool. Like I actually have the app and running. If like I wanted to deploy this right now back into production, I'll have to see what's going on, because obviously it's not reading me as a user who's logged in. And maybe it's not, like maybe it's a whole, yeah, no, I actually am authenticated. So like in my database here, if I go to data, it's going to be like, hey, I'm freaking out. It should have me as a user listed and so forth like that. So yeah, so that's a couple of things. So we've been able to basically start off a branch. Branches, create it here, create a tag so that we can roll it back. We're now basically in this stage where we need to sort of like get this environment up and running. And then once that's up and running, we can just go to GitHub and say, let's just go ahead and do a pull request to bring this forward. And so, and it should basically just snap it forward. And that's kind of actually written out in our plan here. So in our plan, once we've tested all the changes down below, it's going to say, in order for us to proceed, we basically have to, let's see where we go. The next step, let's just pretend that like this rollback was completely clean on the database side and everything worked fine. What we would do next basically is just do a git diff backup pre-rollback. So before deploying, check if there are any schema or migration differences. This is basically what we're doing right now. And then, let's just say all of this passed. We would then go to the main branch, check it out, and then merge our branch that was there that we had on the side, and then add this flag called --no_ff and do -m as a message, and then say rollback to commit to fix the transcription regression. And then we would push the origin to main. So basically what that would do is it'll take our feature branch, like force it right in and just kind of push us back to that moment in time, almost like a time machine snapshot, and say, boom, you're there to go. And so if something goes wrong, you can also do git reset hard to like the rollback to that tag that we were at, or git reflog as well. So those are the two ways that we would continue with the plan going forward. So like if everything was fine. And so I'm at this point in time now where I basically just need to figure what the code changes are here. And then I'm just going to run the next set of steps. And so this is kind of as far as I got. I do need to fix this bug in production. So I'm just going to be very brief and just catch up with the comments and then get offline so that I can fix this for my users because they're waiting for me right now on this. But yeah, I love you guys so much. And I want to kind of thank my members because we crossed an important milestone today. We crossed 14,000 subscribers on YouTube. Holy smokes, this is so crazy. I am immensely thankful for everyone who's been able to show up to my live streams. I literally started streaming every single day beginning July 1st, and I had about 10,000 subscribers. Since then, I've gained like about 4,000 subscribers, which is crazy. And we've built a community. So like my actual Discord community is popping now. We had like maybe tens of users. Now we have I think over like 150 users or something now. Super duper cool. So for the folks who want to get into the Discord, all you have to do is just join my membership. It's just down below on YouTube there, and just join. It's right now it's like $6.99. And if you are a member and you haven't joined the Discord yet, there's a members only post. So go to my actual YouTube channel. In there, you can actually follow the instructions to send me an email, and then I'll get you a link so that you can go and get into the Discord. I can only verify who you are by your name and your channel name. So make sure you include some of those details as well. And yeah, we should be able to get cooking on the Discord, which is really fun. So big shout outs to you guys. Big shout outs to GitMax as well. New limit. Okay. Oh, and we've been having a lot of fun the last couple of days. So I don't know if you know this, but we've actually coined a new like 3 comma club thing. And it's not because they've reached billionaire status. They've reached 1 billion tokens consumed with Claude Code. And so there's more on those previous videos. If you can kind of see that, we've been having a lot of fun with that. You're also using Git Tower with Windows. Oh, that's right. They did release a Windows version. I'm so glad they did that actually. For Claude Code for $20 a month in the last 2 days, 88 million tokens, bro. Yeah, $200 a month, and especially if work's going to cover it, bro. You're set. You're so set. I wouldn't have done this live. Yeah, no, it's okay, man. Like I think part of the realness of my channel, I'm realizing, is that a lot of people I watch on YouTube are just like so perfect. It's like, bro, do you ever mess up? Like your video is so perfect. Real life, you go through stuff. I don't ever see anyone do like a Git rollback live. Like that's kind of messy. You saw how messy that was, right? Like this is not scripted. This is real life. And if I'm going through it, I'm pretty sure you're going through it. Or you just kind of maybe are thinking like, how do I do this? Like, how do I even begin? And all of these steps I'm showing you is because I ask AI these questions all the time. Like I ask ChatGPT, I ask Claude Code, I go back and forth, I get ideas. You know, writing software isn't my full-on 24/7 job. Like I got real life. I'm taking care of people like older than me. I got, family stuff. I got to do live streaming. I got a beautiful community who's just starting to flourish. This YouTube channel is amazing. I want to meet people in real life. I have friends. I just can't keep the code and everything in my head. And what's nice about this day and age, and this is kind of why I love coding with AI, is because then I kind of want to offload a lot of this stuff. But at the same time, I realize it's not completely reliable, right? Like I thought a lot of these issues were fixed because my AI told me it did, right? I had these nice detailed plans. I made sure, but what I'm actually starting to discover, and no one's really talking about this, is I've found major holes in these plans. So the AIs will tell you that they finished the code. And now that I'm actually going through and manually reviewing the code, I'm realizing there's a lot of missing features and there's like more questions and more things that need to be asked in further feedback loops. So I think the thing is actually going to be more about how do you plan better to use AI and scoop the features down. So yesterday I have a video live about a context rot, and I'm actually kind of starting to see this now actually creeping in. And the way that that means is like whenever you have more tasks to do and you can start to throw the model off, the accuracy actually drops significantly. So what that means is like if you have two conflicting things, like, you know, my teacher told me this, like the best way to do is just to write every day. And then my friend says that my teacher should also say, you know, I should write daily or something like that. Like if you have these other paths that the AI can go down, when it tries to go back later on, like let's just say in your code, you have like these 5 different areas where the code kind of does the same thing. The AI will say, oh, great, I'm so happy to fix this for you. I'm going to just choose one of the 5 and fix it for you. And then in your detailed plan, it says, you know, make sure you work on this feature and fix it. And it's going to be like, yes, I fixed it because according to his plan, I found the code and then I fixed it. But then what I'm starting to realize is the AI will make more code changes, or I don't see it in my current loop, you know, the feedback loop that I was running because my token window is this big. Let me just go ahead and create another function so I can satisfy this person's request and kind of get out of here as fast as possible. And that's how it's trained to do, right? Like it's just trained to answer your requests. If it doesn't immediately see it, it's going to just generate new code and then be like, yay. And then we're like, all right, I'm too busy to check. That's cool. And that happens in real life anyways, right? But like these AIs are actually mimicking our real life. And so there's a lot to go off of here, and there's like many other topics, but I just want to let you know kind of what I'm thinking so far and what I'm seeing. And no one's really talking about this, right? And that's kind of what's fun about being an engineer and turning on the camera live, and that I can do live, that we're kind of discovering together. And that's what I'm also doing on the Discord as well. A lot of people on Discord right now are building and kind of sharing their stuff that they're working on. And it's a really cool community. And I appreciate everyone who's been kind of rolling through the comments, kind of hanging out with us. So yeah, GitMax also says, yeah, your live event YouTube is not notifying me. I subscribe with alert, but no notifications. Oh, interesting. You know what? I wonder if I should make something live. I'll vibe code something where people can subscribe and like sign up for some Twilio text alerts, because that would be so cool. Whenever I go live, I've been meaning to do this, and I think I might just combine it all together into one thing where like people who want to be notified can just get like a text message from Twilio or WhatsApp or something about like me going live, because I've noticed this problem too. And I feel like I don't get notified when my favorite people go live. So that's what's up. Many scammers or liars are advertising their app by saying the vibe coded their app without touching a line of code and have this. Dude, okay. I'm exhausted by like this whole theme. And I'm also exhausted by like the gurus, right? Who just say like, just sign up and then like you'll just all of a sudden be an amazing app developer just by taking these free courses, or our community of people who are doing this type of stuff. If they can do that, I totally admire it. But I don't know. I come from a background, like I learned engineering on the job, right? Like I didn't have a degree. I dropped out of school and I learned by doing. And so that's kind of what I'm doing with AI right now. This whole channel is me learning by doing about AI, right? So like, but I have a background now because I worked in the industry for a while. Now I'm kind of flipping it back the other way. It's like, okay, I'm not a machine learning engineer, but that doesn't matter, right? As long as you're curious and you want to do some work, like we're going to show up, and I'm showing up every day. Like right now, you know, July was my month to show up every day, and we've been like totally crushing it. And I'm just trying to share back what I know. And it's pretty obvious once we start kind of scratching beneath the layer, like these types of issues, like we're seeing right now with my Git, like users complaining, and then how do you roll it back? Like these are real issues that you'll actually encounter in your apps. And then what do you do with them? You know, how do you get support? How do you do this type of stuff? I feel like this is kind of where you have to have someone with some industry experience that kind of help walk you through this whole process. Because yeah, like I feel like I feel like I mean, AI is kind of like the enterprise rental company, like your favorite car rental company can now rent Lambos for like $5. And so everyone just start to line up because they want to drive a Lambo. And it's like, oh my God, look at me, I'm driving a Lambo. So then like it gets kind of like everyone's driving a Lambo now. And like it's cool. Like I can race 0 to 60 with everyone else at the same speed. But like if you really want to like take it on a track and do some really cool stuff with it, you kind of need someone who has a lot of experience with that to really teach you how to get the best out of the car or get the performance that you need, or like shifting timing and all these types of things that you want to do maybe with your specific sports car that you cannot really normally get. So yeah, I feel like we're in the AI Lambo era. I don't know. I love this stuff though. I love AI. I'm not putting anyone down. I'm just saying, I think we're all vibing together. So is there any Discord community for tips and news? I think there's several really good people. I think Matt Wolf and Matt Berman have Discord communities that are really active. They cover a lot of news, and I think they have some tips, and they have a very active community. And I tend to follow Matt Wolf because he likes to play a lot with these AI models and things. So I think that's kind of the best way to do it. And let's see, anything else? All right, so I need to actually fix this bug, and I should probably get to fixing that. But I want to kind of drop you off here a little bit and encourage you to practice. Like get an app that you're working with, do a bunch of changes, and see if you can roll it back. And then if you roll it back, see can you snap it back forward to the other Git tag. Like just do that exercise. Even if you have an app like that's not in production, just on the side, one of your hobby projects, just take that, start playing around with Git, and see if you can actually do that as an exercise. And try to see if you can build a Git workflow with it too. So like whenever you're doing certain things, it's going to auto tag it when you do a PR merge to main, right? Like for me, I should have those workflows where like as soon as a PR comes in and I merge it, it should tag production. It should actually check these various values that I have to say, hey, you pushed a new version number, but I don't see a Git tag. We're going to update the tag automatically. Like that's the type of automated software you eventually will build. And that's the type of discipline I should have had, but I didn't. But that's okay. I'm here to admit live. You don't have to be perfect. Just because I have lots of years experience, sometimes like I'm moving too fast and then like I just go with the vibes, right? So I think we're all guilty with that. So you can't have a 100% vibe coded complex app. I use Claude Code, Kimi K2, and even with 10 plus prompts to debug one flow, it got worse. I have to start all over. Sometimes it's best to, start fresh again. Take everything you've learned from these pieces and see if you can kind of make it simpler. And so that's also going to teach you how to make better software too. Ask it, if I were to rewrite this again, how can I make this, how can I refactor this to be more streamlined? Or what other things should I consider if I'm rebuilding this app from scratch? Let it look through the code. Let it ask the questions. Let it kind of inform you. Take those learnings and see if you can reprompt it and start fresh again, saying, I want to do an app and I want to have it to have this pattern. I need to have the components in this pattern. When I'm generating UI, make sure I have a UI UX tree and list out the details. I'm using ShadCN. Can you just tag what ShadCN components would be for these types of things? Take screenshots of the app that you like. Say, I want my app to be just like this. And so when you prompt to generate a new app, just take all of your learnings, give it that UI UX ShadCN prompt, give it some of those screenshots. Now you have a way better prompt than you did. But in that process of you playing for the last month doesn't mean you have to throw everything away. You've learned a lot in the process, right? You've learned how the data flows. You've been actually in your app, hopefully, touching and playing with the functions and doing those types of things. So yeah, I would not, I consider it a complete L, but that's what it is. I had an issue where Google CAPTCHA was failing. Instead of using keys from the env file, Claude temporarily hard-coded. Bro, see? Yeah, Claude is really good at trying to finish a task and just get out. So that can happen. You have to really watch these though. Yeah. I did ask sometimes, would you have to burn villages to burn city? Oh man, that's so fire, bro. You brought up a great pain point in terms of sometimes going too fast. This is just me, but I've noticed the quality of what I build is much better when I test thoroughly after each small update. This is exactly it. It's not only that, but it's teaching me to bring my scope way down. I'm super ambitious. I want a lot to happen. And sometimes I YOLO it. And even in my 4-hour live stream, right? Like that massive plan, it sat there for 30 minutes. I had no clue. There's probably so many skeletons in that whole debug process. Like I need to just go take that plan and just run it in smaller chunks and then verify, do the quick loops and do more types of things. And I feel like that's actually going to be my workflow going forward. It's okay if people ship features faster than me, but I want to make sure that they're tighter, that they're like actually have like a good loop. I want to think through the actual code, and I actually want to do more coding actually. So after the AI makes the change, I want to go play around with the code and then see if I can add some more features by just, using the tab to code stuff. And so that way I can kind of get a better feel of what what changes have landed, and I can get that feedback loop of learning too. I think I need both of these right now. And so I was actually going to make a post on X saying, like, I give up on vibe coding. I'm canceling all my plans. I'm canceling all of my AI, and I'm just going to go in a cave for 3 months and just start reading books and doing whatever. And, that you kind of have to do all this crazy stuff on X to like get people to stop, because right now the consensus on X is everyone's using AI. So if you go anti-AI and you kind of double down on it, you'll get like super mega viral. Anyways, it's not exactly like to the T, but it's kind of how I partially feel. Like it's a combination. It's like, okay, can I can I scope down my features? Can I make it much, much smaller? Can I get a tighter feedback loop? How can I create tests that I can just loop back and then just slowly add features instead of just like carpet bombing features? I agree. I noticed it's better to do very little steps to prevent mistakes. Yep, completely. I mean, I've known this for a while, but sometimes it's so tempting, especially with background agents too, with Cursor. I just like let them rip and I was like, this looks good, cool. And then I test it in a branch, it works good, okay, ship it. And it does work until it doesn't, right? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's like I went too fast. My users are telling me, three paying users are saying, dude, it's not working. And it's like, I got to fix this within 24 hours. Otherwise they're out of here, So treat any bug like that, especially user feedback where something doesn't work, literally like it's expired cheese and you need to like do something with it immediately. So with that said, I probably shouldn't waste any more time and I need to get back to work, y'all. All right. See you soon in the next video. I'm last member update, I think. So this is like the summer of streaming. So I'm basically streaming every single day until like, I was going to do the whole summer of streaming basically every single day. But what I realized is that I need to actually get some more recorded content up here. So by streaming every single day, I don't get that chance to actually sit down and record really good content. So this would have been an amazing video for like 2 to 3 minutes of just how to use this Git process. And so what the good part of this whole summer of streaming so far is the fact that I've been able to hire a video editor. His name is Dan, so you'll see him in the Discord as well. Thanks to your guys' member support, I reached my 100 member goal. We've blown past it. We're now at like about 150 members. So thank you all the folks who have been able to join to help support this movement. So my promise now for beginning August 1st is basically I'm still going to go live. I'm going to go live about 2 to 3 times a week just so that I can keep that balance. And I want to connect with you so that we can kind of still meet up. I'm still trying to figure out what days I want to go live. It'll probably be at least one time during the week and at least one time during the weekend. And then some extra bonuses if there's like any news like GPT-5 announces or something like that. So that way we can play with the model live. The second part of it is I'm going to do some recorded content. So, how to get the most out of Claude Code, maybe connecting some MCPs that I actually find very useful. Like just get some recorded video so that it'll like save you some time. And then we'll reserve the live streams to be more AMA style, which I really like. Or go over like some model comparisons live or whatever other type of theme or topic that I come up with. I think those are going to be my favorite. I've learned a lot just streaming every single day, and it's been really great to see people join live as well. Big shout outs to Sardar, who has also joined as a member. Awesome. Thank you so much for the support. It really does mean a lot. It's helped me kind of get to where we are today. And I'm just really excited to have y'all along this amazingly cool journey. So Carlos says, I'm teaching myself to build. I threw away the code after a dozen times until I got a working app. Claude Code eliminates the sunken cost fallacy. Exactly. But we love to interact with you. Yes. And so I think by streaming in August, when I change this plan, I want to see how my edited content does. And then like in the edited content, we're still going to have those like streaming points. So I'm going to stream like 2 to 3 times a week. and then you can show up. So I want to have like a consistent time where I just consistently say, you know, every Sunday at this time, or every Monday at this time, like every Saturday at this time type of thing, or every Wednesday or something. But I also want to have some of the flexibility so I can just actually just knock out a bunch of segments and just start to like film them and like take you guys on this journey as well. And then, you know, interact with the Discord and stuff. So that's what's up. All right, folks, I will see you on the next stream tomorrow, July 31st. Hopefully GPT-5 comes out this July, and it's going to be crazy. Peace out, y'all.